There's a growing storm about Manchester City allegedly breaking these FFP rules. Do you have any thoughts on that?
The storm is outside. It's raining a lot.
Yeah, and in Manchester.
We feel at home.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on that, on the Man City allegedly breaking these FFP rules?
I have thoughts from a few years ago, but I keep the thoughts to myself.
Jose, how important is this getting a positive result tomorrow? And do you feel like you've ironed out the issues with your slow starts in recent matches?
With that?
You started slowly in recent matches. Do you feel like you've solved those issues on the training ground?
No. We work every day to try, but the reality is that normally we don't start matches well. But if you don't start well and we end it well, that's fine. It's even good fun for the fans. But football is 90 minutes, and especially when your opponent is strong, if you give 45 minutes advantage, or even 20 or even 10, then you have a mountain to climb. The good thing is that lately, a part of a Juventus match, we were strong enough to climb the mountain and to change results and to win matches in second halves and in last minutes. But because I think we are speaking about tomorrow match, when you play against a super team, if you give advantage, it's very difficult to climb the mountain then.
Jose, you said at the weekend about the changes you're trying to make this season, about making United more attacking than maybe in the past season. Is the reason for that because you want to give the fans what they've been calling for, or is it because you think it's not possible to win titles playing in a defensive manner?
Oh yes, it is. Oh yes, it is. And you have many examples of teams that they do that. You have many examples. I just think that is the way to develop the team in a certain direction that we want to try to go. And I recognize that in many matches we are showing that our defensive, I don't say defensive organization, because we work a lot on that, and I am pretty sure that you are not going to say that I cannot organize my teams by the defensive point of view, because you say exactly the opposite. But the reality is that we concede too many goals, and the way we concede them show exactly that we have our weaknesses that sometimes you can hide, sometimes you can't. But again, I think it's a big match to play tomorrow, big opponent, super favorite to win the competition, and I think the press conference we are speaking less about the game and more about generalities. And I think we should focus a bit more on tomorrow.
Jose, you mentioned big games, and you've got obviously a huge game tomorrow and a huge game on Sunday. Do you see this as a potentially defining moment or period in the season, in terms of if you can get two positive results, that could set a tone and a turning point for you and the team?
No, not at all. Tomorrow is a big match, and it's big enough for not to think about what next. It's big enough to think just about the match against Juventus. It's not a crucial match for us. I think, independent of the result, our next two matches against Young Boys and Valencia are the matches that are going to to define the qualification in the second position, or to go to Europa League. So I think tomorrow, of course, is a match that we want to win. Of course, is a match we want to compete. Of course, is a match that is not lost. We have to play. We want to play, and we want that very, very much. I think the best experiences for teams is when you play against teams that are really the top, and we have that opportunity tomorrow. But in relation to Champions League, doesn't matter what happened in here, doesn't matter what happened in Valencia. Even if Valencia wins and we lose and we get 1 point behind them, there are 2 more matches to play and we still can qualify. So I think we are going to fight for qualification until the last match. And this is such a big match that I don't even want to think about what next. Okay, it's Man City, but could be Crystal Palace or whatever. Doesn't matter. We just focus on tomorrow.
Okay, last 2 questions. One here and one at the back over there.
Jose, Manchester United against Juventus would be a more regular kind of fixture if there is a European Super League, as has been mooted this week in the football leagues. Is that something that you would be in favour of?
I'm not interested in that. No.
Question at the back.
Buonasera. Emanuele
Emanuela Gamba, La Repubblica. I would like to ask you about your relationship with Pogba, because in English newspapers we often read that you don't have such a good relationship with him. So what about your thoughts or your opinion about that? What about the future of Pogba? Well, one thing is what the press says, and another thing is what Paul says. And, of course, another thing is what I say, so what I think about it. Well, the press says that we have a terrible relationship, but Paul, some weeks ago, some months ago, said that we have the typical coach and football player relationship. I think we have a good relationship between a manager and a player, because sometimes these relationships can not be that good. But in this case, I would say I would classify it as a good relationship between a coach and a football player.
Nobody wants to know the team, right? Samuel. You are under pressure now. You know, you have to deliver. You have to deliver.